Here. Okay. Meeting comes to order. We're going to start with the first public comment. Is there anybody who would like to address the board? If you would like to address the board in 3 minutes, please step up to the front. Okay. Speak and
small list today.
Okay.
Just want to report that the county has received marijuana excise funding, $886,000, which the city also received the same amount. So we'll see where the special projects go on that program this year. So hopefully, no more dragon train. Also, the 18-year agreement with the opioid rebate back to the counties has been adjusted, and we are going to employ District 10 Health Department to handle those funds for the Costa County that we're entitled to. So that's an agreement with us in District 10 that doesn't earmark all the funds to District 10. It's that District 10 will implement the division of those funds. So people like the Sheriff's Department, if they have an educational program for opioids, they can access those funds through, as well as other entities that are involved in education and trying to use the opioid crisis. So those are the two real hot buttons right now. So I'm sure there'll be an announcement. People requesting part of the marijuana funding special projects.
clarification, you said the county is 800 and some odd.
886,000.
And then we do the same amount,
Same amount.
combined
1617.
That would be good. I just wanted
Now that's from permits and tax of the sale. All 15 dispensaries have to be located in the city limits.
to have to do is voted on that.
Right, but there's none agreement in the cost better. So all of those monies are earmarked through the city.
So the city is about the county, the overlap is
You just split it in half, and the city, because the entities lie within the city, they get half, and the city lies within the county, so the county gets the other half. So 86 total. 886 each.
The county and one of the city, that's why it comes up in one side.
So the mayor told me, he says, they're all in the city, so you guys should just give us that.
I looked into that, and the city of Detroit only gets like 1.8 million.
Well, I
So
saw
four from the municipality.
Oh, it's huge.
Or not we had nothing to do with it. The city, we don't get any money.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And Costa County is right up in the top, 20%.
Yeah. Clinton, Georgia was above it.
Yeah. Grand Rapids.
No, I don't think so.
Kent County, I thought was pretty high.
It wasn't as high as others, but I might be wrong.
Anyway, but again, it's money coming back. So it's 501c3. That's great. So I'm sure the request will come streaming in. They always do.
Is the township able to make a request?
Under certain circumstances, yes.
What would those be, you know?
The particulars are we can't donate from the county to the township, but on a special project, like I know Colfax is going to request funding for repair of the concrete apron in front of their fire line.
Could we request money for a transfer pump for a sewer lift station, you know?
I would direct you to make that phone call to Paul Ola to see if that qualifies.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. That's right. I mean, 100 grand is 100 grand or whatever, you know. And, it's the people's money. So it would be my guess that if it falls under the auspices of that it would be considered.
Well, I firmly believe we need to back
Thank you. Now, I'd like to ask the group that's here tonight, to please keep the roar down a little bit so everybody can hear, anybody that's standing up at the podium, just kind of want you to all whisper as we move forward with the meeting. And that way we can progress the meeting in a orderly fashion. Is there anybody else that would like to come approach the podium and address the board for first public comment? Come on down, guys.
I'm just speaking for other communities like ours that we're going through, and economic development responsibility alliance of Michigan. I really heard you say of Michigan.org. It's just basically I'm trying to figure out because anyone heard about Marshall, Monday, Eagle, Vernon, Shiawassee, Plymouth and Northville, Detroit, some of the things that EDRA is working with outside of just this community. That's why I'm asking people to pull it up and see what we're really about, because that's an important thing for me, because I've been to those communities, I've watched other town hall meetings, and I feel like it's a connection of communities that have the same thing we're going through here. And you get a connection with them, and there's a connection relating with each other and figuring out how to handle things, like in Detroit, it's their water. So, EDRA of Michigan.org, real important for me to, I'd like to, anyone has questions, just contact me, okay? There's two communities fighting Goshen, I'm sure everyone knows that, and they still don't get it. We've been called extremists. We've had to watch the supervisor in the past wear a bulletproof vest. To me, that's all a playbook, and I see it in every community I go into, making compassionate people that have had generations of family live here that actually care. It's diverting it from the true thing that there is a population of people in many communities that are very concerned for government overreach. I have a question about why tax dollars are out of office in town for the Goshen project. It's not really run like any real construction zone that I've ever seen. My husband's been heavy construction for a long time. Being on social media and visiting the landscape company, that's not really what a real vice president does on a particular type of job. Thing. So there's lots of more questions about the way that's being run outside of what I was about, which is the environment and connecting the community together and having us know each other and all get along. And so, yeah. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay, at this time, I'd like to,
just read briefly what you gave me tonight, letter from Wayne Trim on the lift station. I suggest you contact Simon Newhoff because they have more current information than Wayne Trim has. Wayne Trim is going back and redoing a lot of the things that Simon Newhoff already had. So Simon Newhoff should be contacted. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pete. Mr. Pete showed interest in board on joining the sewer committee. So he submitted a letter to me just before the meeting. So welcome to the sewer committee. Any other public comment at this time? Okay.
I'm an old fart. I've lived here a long time. I'd like to know when we're going to get a microphone. It's time to hear some people addressing the board. Do you have any, can you answer that?
I will, I'll answer it. Yeah, I'm working on getting that taken care of this meeting. We were hoping to do it for this meeting, but
I'm sorry?
we were hoping to get it done this meeting, but I wasn't able to get that. Speakers up, microphones are there. I have to work with,
Yes, but that,
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Supervisor?
Yes, sir.
Can I speak to that?
Absolutely.
I did an extensive search of the building, basement, storage rooms, cabinets, everywhere I could possibly look. There were 7 microphones in the basement, a couple of months ago. They disappeared. I don't know what happened to them. There aren't so many people that have keys to that basement, so we're trying. I thought I was gonna have that all set up tonight. It's important, we need to get that done.
Here, when you bring the first one.
Well, from what I never heard of it, but I was yeah, they're there. Yes. Yeah, I didn't heard of it. So we looked all over.
There's 7 on the box.
Okay, anybody else for public comment?
I wonder if there was any way that it could be some kind of a, oh, I don't know, a newsletter or something. I've had so many frightened people come up to me, and other than going to these meetings, there's no way, or any of us, that's a lot of questions, control on the update. Even if I was ready to come in and do some update, I could at least say, I know something. I'm still encouraged that the people is I was in the first place. I know that they're working very hard, but that so far is still achievable. People are worried about the economy, the problems, what's going to happen, what they're doing, what they shouldn't be doing, what they're doing at all. So I feel a little bit not being able to help them out. And I know that there's a way to get some kind of suggestion, where we can go to help these people out. I would really appreciate it. Newsletter, or even writing, if you wanted to come in and do an update, so I can let them know. Okay, I see it later. I'll get it up. Is that enough, or just a number?
I just said call me, I need to know.
Okay.
But I'm trying to get rid of it.
I really appreciate it. I appreciate all of your work. I appreciate all of your work. We're not laying silent here. We're doing 20% work to help people and fight this thing. I know that. So thank you for your time.
Board, I'd like to speak to that right now. I guess that's a good comment to segue into what I want to tell the board. I'm working on an update, okay? And so what I want to do is I want to write this thing out, and it's going to be part of a release for an update for everybody on everything that's happened so far to the best of my abilities at this point. There's been so much that's happened, and I want to make sure the board's updated and the community's updated. And I'm just deciding on how I'm going to deliver that. One would be I'm going to get the 5 points of address, maybe the state of the township address, kind of pass that by a few people out in the community, just so I wouldn't have to tie up. I respect the board's time, but so I can, respond to some of these questions that are out there. But I want to make sure that it gets done accurately and gets in the meeting minutes. And also, or something like this, so I can submit the meeting minutes, so you guys can all approve it after I deliver it, however I'm going to do that, and Cory can enter it in as well. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm hoping that I've done into this month, because I'd like to do a first quarter report to everybody, and I think we're at this point where we can start doing that, release the information out. I've asked the board to be quiet on a lot of these things that have been happening. I've done that for a reason. There's a very good, it's very easy to put your foot in your mouth if you start talking on a weekly basis because we don't have all the facts. But I want to give everybody an update. I think we're far enough now. We have a good place on what's happening. Anyway, moving on. Anybody for our public comments before we do the rest of our meeting? Okay, let's move to additions to the agenda. I've supplied the board with the quote for Williams and Works and wage trim. If you guys, if the board look at wage trims quotation there for work to assess the sewer, this kind of pertains to well, it does. It pertains to what Mr. Steve has addressed the board on. Is a quote to not exceed more than $9,200 for another assessment, additional assessment to the sewer lift station. Lately, we've been working on the sewer lift station, and we're trying to see what would the, how could we replace it if we didn't have Goshen come to town, or if the SSRP fund did not go through. I've gotten some rough numbers, but they're just rough numbers. Right now, this would be an insight look into a different engineering firm to take a look at our lift station and be able to start engineering work on that lift station. Now, I haven't mentioned, since I'm talking about the lift station, I have not brought the board's attention that the pumps on some of the plans that we have located in our building here, that the pumps were actually located in the ground in the canyon. The new updated lift station was drawn up with plans that I have. Now maybe Mr. Peets, and I'm going to chase Mr. Peets' recommendation down, I'll find something other than that. But the pumps are down in the hole, and the valves and the electrical were actually above grade. And what I asked Wade Trim to do is let's look at replacing the whole lift station and everything above ground on grade, so we don't even have to have somebody crawling in the down the hole to do any maintenance on those items. I bring you over to Rob. Rob and I looked at the sewer replacement fund. We have the sewer replacement fund, the sewer lift station.
Certainly that one, 462,000.
Yeah, 462,000. So this would be a drop in the bucket. I mean, I would right now like to get a motion to pursue wage trim not to exceed $4,200, and then look at moving forward with some other engineering costs. You can't give us engineering costs until he does another assessment. And so that assessment has been done. Now, wage trim is an engineering firm that actually built the sewer lift station to begin with. They designed and built it. We have the original plans here. They went back to their offices up in Traverse City. We pulled those plans out. And they also built numerous other lift stations in the area. So they're very familiar with the area. I believe they'd be a good place to start. Now, if the board was to approve this 9,200, what I would do before I signed any documents with wage trim, I would chase down what Mr. Pete's recommendation is first, and then not pursue that $9,200 until we have some more information. So what Mr. Pete just told me is news to me, and I have to look into that. I have to look into that before we go spending any money on engineering costs.
I could not hear you now.
Yeah, $9,200 on that.
Sewer fund, what was in the sewer?
Oh, sewer fund.
462,000.
462.
Doesn't change.
I believe from talking rough numbers, just as well as the board knows, we're not looking at $3 million or $3.6 million that was allotted in this SRP fund. I believe that we can get this replacement done for way less and way sooner. And while we have funds in our account, and that would be ARPA funds, then to be used up by this year actually appropriated. This is something that we really need to take a look at, a good hard look at before we lose those funds. So that's why I'm bringing this up to the board today. Any questions?
So if we make a motion to approve this, you're saying with the exception that if another option was to emerge that is less than 9,200, we would not, we would pursue that, or we would give that consideration, so.
Correct.
We're including that in the motion.
Yeah.
This along with, I can't remember the gentleman, I think that's the company you mentioned was.
When did you we have already done a lot of work on this.
Yeah, and the correction on the account is $664,000. Okay.
600.
Yeah, 600, not 400, 664,000. 664,000 in that account at this time. Yes.
Are we at risk of losing the money if we don't spend it this year, or something's committed? And, I mean,
Right.
kind of late to be looking at construction projects this year.
Not necessarily talking to Brian over late trip. He did meet here. We went through a bunch of our records. And I asked him on lead time on a project like this, and he said he could do it, as soon as late summer, early fall. What would happen is the work would be put out for bid, sealed bid to his company. He would come in and he would present that information to us and keep the board voting on the progress on the bidding process and those types of things. He's actually said as soon as he gets through his study, he's going to come and present the study to the board, so that we would be right on track with what we can do.
Is Jim leaning towards putting everything above ground?
100%. I asked him, I said, no doubt, we want everything above ground. That's what the people want. That's what we're going to go for. And so, yep, everything goes above ground. And I also asked for an expansion to the Goshen site. So if we need to expand, whether Goshen comes or goes, they can expand up to that site per the franchise agreement in case that, again, we have a build out up there. Now, the pumps also have to be updated, obviously, and increased flow so we can do expansions on that system. But I don't know what exactly he's going to find. The board did do a study. When was that, Kelly? When did that study done? It was when you were on the board there.
There was continual question about.
Was it more
Yeah,
recent than
well, I
that?
was on the board 5-6 years ago.
There's been a study more recent than that, and there's information that trying to do what they would do. It is required to be above ground. And it's not an option.
Well, I was told that, carrying up your comment, I was told that they are still installing below ground. But I said absolutely want to make sure that it's above ground. So, yes.
I kind of want to let you know that you might look at that option. If we had somebody that was trained in confined space entry and licensed and insured, we could pay them to go down there, and the liability's on them. We just don't want any, township employees at risk.
Absolutely. Yep. The other
I mean, if it's possible, leave things underground and retrofit everything. It might be a cheaper way to go. You got a lot of benefits to being above ground, but there's benefits to being below ground as well.
Exactly. Well, and I asked them for a three-tier estimate. So let's say we want to fix it, we want to keep it in this what we can afford, as opposed to all the way up to replacing the whole thing. And I'm really looking at just replacing and going above ground. We got one hit at this thing, and I want to make sure that if we can do it, let's do it. We have the helm here, and we can service the people there on that system, we can make sure, because it is end of life. When we first got in, and I had, a mechanical take a look and put an eye on it to verify and try to pacify everybody's concerns with it. It was just to make, I already saw Troy McDonald's work, and I knew Troy McDonald's work was great, it was spot on, and there wasn't a problem with it. So we brought mechanical in to take a look, just as a double check, as we did it when we took office here, as a double check to verify, everybody to make sure that everybody understood that these things were happening appropriately. And there was no doubt with Troy. But that just to hopefully pacify everybody to make sure that the thing wasn't going to blow up and there was going to be sewage everywhere in everybody's basement. I don't know as well as it was perceived as that, but that's what we were trying to accomplish with Kept Mechanical looking at the system. But it is at end of life. There was never, in my mind, a motion or action just to have somebody come and look at it and say, oh, it's all right. The system's 30 years old. We all know that. And it's 40 years old, sorry, 40.
1975.
Yeah,
48.
So it needs to be replaced. It's end of life.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept Wade Trim's proposal for that $1,900. You can't turn upon the information that we received from Brian Newell.
Okay. So I got a first on Kelly. Do I have any more? Yeah, you want another discussion? You got something you want to say?
My view is, we have the technology, and I like to see repair, not just maintain, but repair correctly, because follow-on repairs, when you get above ground, it would be easier to maintain when it's above ground, and then the next time it needs to be maintained or replaced when it's above ground, it would be quicker to change it out when it's above ground. I think the next time we're doing this, whether it be 20 years, 30 years down the road, it'd just be a lot easier to swap it out above ground.
Well, it makes good sense, especially since we have, we have flooding that happens down here every time. So it's nice to be talking about hands and that sounds to worry about.
My thought is this has obviously been a thing of contention since we've been on here and concern, and so I'd like to move forward on this. I would submit to my thought here, kind of put devil's advocate a little bit to the residents of the subdivision, the concern about it being the same location, correct? Okay, is there any concern about the aesthetics or whatever it would be in terms of above ground? Is that any of the concern if people are coming and going every day and out of I mean, I don't know what extent above ground is going to look like. Yes,
It's just a cement building, it's fine, or whatever. It's not particularly attractive right now. It's actually above ground. It's like a big green structure.
okay, I just threw that out there because I want to hear from, is that what you're concerned? Okay.
My thought is that,
if Mr. Beak is right, and it's easier to put it in the ground, then I would suggest you don't waste any money putting it on the ground. Check on that first, and then know it has to be there. And I suspect that that's happening.
my thoughts are that anything above ground is going to have to be insulated. It's going to have to be fairly large. And that's going to be the first thing you see then when you enter that subdivision. I don't have a problem with above ground structure at all.
I was concerned about the new generator that was put out, it was not new, but it's been recently put out there, and he said that for that system, we'd be fine, we wouldn't have to replace the generator, and that's how it is. So, at this point, depending on what we want. But you have to report to it for flow and some of the things too. John?
I just have above ground, my concern would be if there would be a containment pit there in case they had anything, so that you wouldn't have,
Good point.
below ground is one thing, but above, I think that a containment pit of some sort, what would be in order.
Good point. I'll check into that. Thank you. So we have two motions. Any other comments or concern?
I did kind of, well, I did, sorry, Linda.
Yeah, thanks for your reply. This whole process has been going on for about 4 years. And we all have been through it. Money has been spent. People came to present what they wanted to do, what they could do. And the board is going ahead and getting that done. You must consider future growth of the township, no matter what it is. Not only do you serve homes where we are, but you serve business people along 131. Thank you.
Let's move to a vote.
I remember one moment, somebody.
Okay, let's move to a vote. Lori, what's your second?
Bushway.
Yes.
Thorne.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Hay. Rasmussen. Rebo, yes. Cruz.
Yes. Motion carries. I will look into Mr. Pete's suggestion for contact with Jim. I'll keep the board informed on the progress. Thank you very much for it. The next addition to the agenda, I'd like the board to look at Williams and Works. Williams and Works. This has to do with the planning ordinance that we proposed. And this would be, what I'd like the board to do is take a look at page 3 of the Williams and Works quote. And on that Williams and Works quote, this is a quote that is not to exceed price on interim zoning ordinance. And given the fact that we are in our 63 days of the ordinance incubation period here, it's been suggested and actually recommended by our council that we adopt at least the payment of the not exceed number for interim zoning ordinance. So I would like to ask the board to move in that, get a motion to move for the payment of the not to exceed price. Now, in the last 2 weeks, our committee, our planning and zoning committee, has met a couple times now to discuss organization of the committee and to look at ordinances. And what we're doing is the committee is now working off of the Mecosta County Planning Commission's ordinance and doing the review on that to make sure that it fits within our township needs and wants. And so I believe that we won't end up hitting that high mark. Looks like we'll probably be around the 10,000 mark down there. And especially since most of it's going to be reviewed already. Now I can't do that, that's a speculation number, but that's, Williams and Works has given us this number so that we can make sure that we fit it in our budget. And so I would like the board, look for a motion to approve the interim zoning ordinance not to exceed number of 18,000 not to exceed.
18,500.
Yeah, 18,500. Thank you. Just, we still have more there at the point. Yep, we have, right now, our planning board is,
Planning committee currently consists of 3 people, and we have a couple others that expressed interest that haven't been in any meetings so far.
and so there's some that need to be connected, we need to connect with, yeah, so that would be, was it? Yeah, I got another email, so there's still interest coming in. And if anybody else knows that they're serving on the board, might be at this point in time, then we need to give forward.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the not to exceed quote of $18,500 for an interim zoning ordinance with Williams and Works and with discussion above.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Anybody else for motion? Is there a second? Okay, can I get a vote, please?
We need discussion.
Just go to discussion, okay, let's discuss.
I'm wondering if there's any point in this process where we should send out a survey to public residents to find out what they would like to see in this, or does that come later?
That comes later.
But they will have a say.
Right, right.
Yeah, can I address that real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
So this initial interim zoning ordinance is going to be something that'll get us up and running. And it has a lifespan of a certain amount of time, I think that's for 3 years. And at that point, we're going to have to put in place a permanent zoning ordinance. What we will do also during that time is create a master plan for Green Township. And during the creation of the master plan, there's going to be public hearings, there's going to be opportunity for interviews, questionnaires, and/or surveys sent out to the public, so that we can get feedback from the citizens and the property owners, taxpayers. We need to know what they want, what the township, how they want to be. And what we don't want to go forward, yes. Correct.
Sure, I'll take the question. I'm kind of curious here. What are we doing for Green Township? So, once again, the ordinance has been passed by the board. All right, to take back, was that done? Want to see the last? So we ended up doing the second reading of the ordinance, and the ordinance will allow us to take back zoning from the planning commission from Macomb County. And that will allow us to control the zoning in our county to make sure that county residents, or not, township residents rather, township residents have a say in what happens in their township. Instead of having the county control everything that happens in our township. And there is that very good point. There currently is no Green Township residents on that planning.
That's an error. Marilyn Bradstrom is the resident.
Oh, yeah, thank you, I got one, thank you, thanks for the correction. So it's like, we have a very limited input from our township and what happens. Now, in the case of, let's go to Township, for example, which is the real push to make sure that we take back our zoning. There's only one other project like this in the state of Michigan. One other project, and that's looked at for cattle. And so, in my mind, and in the board's mind, on their vote, the problem that we have here is everybody gets to come into our township, play with our dirt, and we don't get any say in it. So that means that the county controls what's going to happen in our township, in our industrial area, along with anything up and down Northland Drive, or anything that you want to do with your house, all right? And so we're all the way down that. So this is the problem that we have here. Now, if you look back at when Nestle was being created, and sorry to segue into this, when Nestle was being created, their township took back zoning. And to work with Nestle to make sure it fit as well as it could in their township, and not leave that up to the county commission. So this is why the action is happening to take back the zoning. My predecessor thought it was a good idea also, and so the old board. So I mean, it's a necessity for us to have some say in what happens in our township.
That's right.
And if we just, any people please keep the comments down. So that is the reason why we need to move in this direction. Does it need to continue to live on forever? No, it doesn't need to do that. Is it absolutely necessary in the time that we're in, the township residents? It's 100% necessary. Because it's not only the Goshen project, it also has to do with any subsidiaries that come in. And we don't have, any zone can't make a tie into the sewers. We have no say in if they're going to tie in the water. We have no say at all. We just sit here. So when the board comes up here, and we're sitting here, and we get comments from the public, and they say, what are you doing? Can't do anything. We have no control. Nothing. Goshen doesn't have to respond to us. All right? They really don't. The county doesn't have to tell us. Even the water and sewer expansion, we signed an agreement a long time ago that we agreed to allow water and sewer expansion. We have to abide by it. We have no control. And so this is the way that we can have a say what happens in our township. So that's what's happening here. But that's my spiel on that. And so that, and I hope that explains a little bit more.
What is the planning and zoning committee, are they bringing stuff back to the board so we kind of know what's going on? Or they're not say, you know?
Yeah, we will, what I'd like to do, as we set up this interim zoning ordinance, what I'd like to do is have that committee, because it's an appointed committee. I don't believe that's right to have an appointed committee, a board like us, or the previous board, appoint somebody, and that's what was terrified in the last one. You know, we have an appointed board, and the appointed board says yay or nay on the project. You know, and I don't feel that's right. It should come down to elected officials. And there's processes involved in that. So what I'd like to do is set up the appointed board to go through all the different steps with planning and zoning with that, so we can all understand what's going on, and we can have an idea what's happening, one, with the Goshen project, or any subsidiary companies that are coming in, and the interests. They all have to come to this building. And then we can report back. Then, depending on whether or not the project requires, the planning commission is going to require a certain amount of information from that project, you know, whether the project continues to go through, whether the project gets a special use permit, we will have more information for the people, and the people will have a say on it. I want to make sure that Green Township residents have a say on what happens here. I want to make sure that's the reason why I want to have this. We have people that have been here for, how long have you been here? How long have you lived here?
I lived here 62 years.
Okay, yeah, and then, Scott, how long have you lived here? Your whole life, right? And then your family's been here for how long? And so I just don't feel as, I really get upset on how the project is set up. I really do get upset about it, because we just don't have a say in it. And if we don't have a say in it, what good is it? You know, great, we can bring these great, wonderful things here, but if we don't have a say in it, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make. So I'd like to have Scott McFarland have a say in what's happening here, put his 2 cents and have it heard. I'd like to have Brandon Sweet come up here and have her voice heard and actually make a difference with that voice on that process. So we need to have everybody's input on it, so that we know exactly which direction that this township is going. If we just leave it up to the township, or the county, we can go talk to them, but we just don't have that granular say into it. So that's the reason for the ordinance, and that's the reason, so, I'm sorry, I'm really, I don't want to have an hour meeting.
Told you.
Yeah, you got me. So, I should have recorded that. Okay, I'm looking for a motion to go forward with the payment of the interim ordinance. I got a motion, can I get a vote, please? We have a discussion? Okay, yes? Okay, so,
Yes.
Hay,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Rasmussen. Yes. Rico, yes. Thorne,
Yes.
Bruce.
Yes. Okay, motion carried, thank you, board, on the next. Okay, all right, I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit sweeter and shorter. Troy McDonald, this is gonna come with a vote of the board, many of us out there. Troy McDonald ended up giving us a resignation letter. He's no longer gonna work in any kind of capacity with us, mainly because of health issues, health-related issues. He wants to step down, spend more time. Just do the one. Yeah, just do the one. Just do the one. Yeah, that's enough. Okay. So, I wanted to bring it to the board and everybody else that's out there, their attention that Troy has stepped down, as effective on March 31st. Okay? And so we're gonna have to work on bringing a different service in to look at that lift station and maintain that lift station for us. Let's see, we did the Williams Works, we did that. Not yet. I haven't contacted him on that too. I would get him on the sewer board. There's been some questions, and Dan, you asked me, you sent me an email, and I'm sorry I got sidetracked with a million things today. So I'd like to address the bathrooms down at the Stone Hatchery, please. Thank you. So what I did is, there's been a lot of confusion out there, and I just want to clarify it. I did resubmit, well not resubmit, but just re-up our paperwork for the grant. So we started the grant's $54,000. And this is what I asked. I asked Tim, I said, you need anything else? And he said, you should be all good for now. I will let you know the next step soon. And then we had another one that came in after there was a lot of confusion out there. Tim wrote, I saw the news story in the Pioneer where someone in the public was questioning whether GCT is proceeding with the Hatchery Park grant. And from a grant administration standpoint, GCT is tracking along with the 17 other projects that we're supporting. It will take more time to get formal grant agreements and sub-grant agreements in place. But otherwise, our position is that Green Charter Township is at full speed ahead with this grant. Okay. Has that changed? Or is this a case of general public not being fully aware of the work behind the scenes? It's absolutely. So I did a little damage control and reconnected with Tim. I said, yes, absolutely, Tim, we want the grant. We're going to continue to work forward with the grant and with you so that we can bring these bathrooms down to the Stone Hatchery. Unfortunately, it's when social media gets involved and then rumor mill starts going and then it causes more work, but that's what we're here for, I guess. So, not never happened. Okay. There's Mr. Keats. The next thing is, the next order of business, I handed the board a application for Seth Latimore's position. Seth will be stepping down, and he'd like to be done in May. That's our township assessor. And I would like the board just to take this home and do it. And we'll have more conversation on it. You need a copy? No? Done? So, Ken is highly recommended by Seth. They've worked together in passes. He's a local guy. There's not many of these assessors that are out there. They're kind of a different breed, I guess you should say, or a breed that isn't found very much. So we're really lucky to have the opportunity to work with them. We've shot some rough numbers on how much it would cost to bring him on board with us. But it would be a much smoother transition, especially since he's local, we can get a hold of him. Easy enough when he's able to report. He is a supervisor at a neighboring township, and he also does their assessments. But he understands our area. And he's currently working, he does have a small dairy. then he'd like to step down from the dairy at this point, doesn't have anybody behind him to take up the position, you know, we'll keep the farm going. So he's looking at doing some more assessing to offset that. But if the board would please just take that and do that. Yeah.
The last time we looked at hiring an assessor, we put that out for bids, and we did interviews, and it was a competitive process. I don't see any numbers here. It's nice that he's highly recommended. It looks like his credentials are great, but I would like to see, you know, some other people considered as well.
Absolutely. Okay. Sounds good. We can do that. Yeah. We've got to chase that down. We're going to have to get somebody in here to do that. I'll talk to Brian and make sure he has another firm, just like mechanical. We can put that out for bid also. We ask mechanical to apply and then we'll the firm to apply.
It's nice that we got a backup plan, but I really feel like we should, you know, put that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He did. Local guy. If we don't take somebody local, just as the board is aware, if we don't take somebody local, we're probably going to get somebody from out. You know, it's going to have to be remote in, or when not really knows the area. And so where it's at is like it's a local guy, you know, and so that worked out really well. It's a good person. But I think what we need to do is let's do it together.
I don't know this guy, but, you know, everything looks good.
Have him come and talk to us. You know?
Yeah. I don't know him either, but I know the regular name from the West Town area. For 4 years I've been here, and it's, it's a good name. I mean, in terms of the people that family name that I've been aware of. I don't know who pushed me to it, but I have no
Sure. Yeah, I think so. Noise and it's for both. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. What do you think, Ken? Just get some bids and
For me, the biggest thing is if I recommend somebody, the biggest thing in my
well, it sets compensation. It's just not a lot of us out there, and a lot of the skill. So, Big Rapids Township, for example, large township, they end up hiring a guy right out of school. You know, not saying that he can do it, he's going to be a bad guy for him, that's who he hires. But there isn't a lot of experienced people out there, this guy's been working for a while, but let's put it out for bid and make sure they're all set. Yeah, I'll take it.
Short person back here.
Yeah.
We just put her the last name.
Oh,
Kim,
well, we're just in the first process, and this is, you know, so we want to make sure we protect them, so it's just an application, one application, and then,
resident, really not.
resident. So we want to just protect his last name for right now.
you didn't look here.
What's that?
Were you just referring to the president?
Yeah, that's, yeah, we do that way, anyway. Yeah, okay.
Since he screwed up, I have to admit to screw on too. I was supposed to ask you to talk about a lighting proposal under additions to the agenda, so as long as we can get to that at some point during the meeting.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Okay. All right, let's just do the lighting proposal. Let's just do the lighting proposal.
I was concerned about these very old metal halide lights that are outside around the building. They're burning brightly from 4 o'clock on every day, whether they're needed or not. So Mr. Thorne gave me the name of a person that works with consumers' energy to make things more energy efficient. I contacted the guy, we went back and forth several times, and he came up and I took him around and he did a quote for us. He looked at the Snowmetry Park, he looked at the inside of the town hall, and he looked at the outside of the town hall. And he gave us a package The total project cost was $4,396. The incentives paid for by Consumers Energy are $2,486. So our payment would be $1,910. That would include all LED lighting outside, which is a much more aesthetically pleasing lighting to me. And it would replace all of the old fluorescent bulbs down in Stone Hatchery Park with more efficient P8 bulbs. And then there's 6 metal halide wall packs that are on buildings that are very big energy costs. Those would be replaced with LED lights as well. So the total cost is $1,910.04 for our township, and there would be some paperwork to sign. We don't have any choice in going to others. We can't do this through a competitive bidding process because it's a program offered by Consumers Energy. And I've been involved in programs like that with my business, and I'm telling you what, you can't go wrong. They estimate the payback to be 1 year and 2 months. Yep. So, I think it's a great plan, but it's going to cost some money.
Can I add that, Joey? That grant for the Stone Hatchery isn't just to put the bathrooms in down at Stone Hatchery, but it also has to do with lighting. That's one of the parts to it. And has to do with lighting, paint, the bathrooms, and there's one other thing, and I don't know, I can't think of it. There's one other line item there. So maybe we can just tuck that in. That from just the number going on in my head, that was way under.
Yeah, if we had to spend less on lighting down there, we could put it into the bathroom. That would make more sense to me.
Sure.
So it's something to consider. We need to vote on it, and
How about the lights on it, like, you know,
when I was looking for a timer down in the basement, I assume they have to be on a timer, because they burn all through the day, and it drags hours, and it just drives me nuts every time I drive by here. It's unnecessary waste of money. And when I was in the basement looking for microphones, when I was in the basement looking for timers, I also looked for the microphones, and couldn't find any of that stuff, so maybe I didn't look in the right spot.
you have lights on the backside.
Yeah, 9 total lights around the building.
The reason why I wonder is with LED lights, they are a little bit brighter, that their windows are brighter.
Well, I think they're directional though, they can tilt the lenses away from the homeowner.
Jason, I can attest that a couple years ago, this has come down one way, my building is 8,000 square foot area parking lot. And we, a couple years ago, we have already integrated the cost and noticeable decline in our energy, our electric bill. So, and, it's a better lighting in the parking lot. So, that's just for my personal experience.
Yeah, we have some sort of direction for that.
Is it appropriate for me to make a motion to spend $1,910.04 to?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a
Do we hold off for the next special meeting?
Sure.
And then, I'm just asking to deal because, with that grant, we may be able to talk to the grant, I'll talk to them and see what we can do about that. We get a motion in that. And then also, cameras for the next thing on that grant. Service cameras, new cameras, lighting, paint, and bathrooms.
So I'm patient, we can wait, but I am going to continue to look for timers. I'm convinced.
How long does that last for that quote? I mean, is that program to last for a little bit?
It's been going for years and years. They want to do it, The contractor wants to hire a subcontractor, and they guarantee all the work. I didn't see an expiration of the quote, but there may very well be one in here.
Another side note is they allowed me to do a 50% of, I can't recall what my total investment was, whatever they were doing, 50% 2 payments. So I didn't, like if it was $1,900, I say I would go I made that 2 payments.
No, yeah. fees, just split it down the middle. Okay. All right, good. All right. Do you have any additions? Additions? None? Okay. I guess I can just take the next part in correspondence, a little bit of correspondence here. We haven't had a lot of correspondence lately, but I really want to bring back this up because just bring back the time to December 8th. I have a Warner Norcross Judd letter that was issued to the township dealing with Goshen, a letter from Goshen. And what had happened is I met Chuck Phelan, the representative, and then we had a very cordial conversation, very cordial. Talked about hunting, fishing, all that stuff. I think I mentioned this way back in somewhere in December. The very next day, we got served with a letter from his from the Goshen attorneys, saying we had 2 breaches in contract. Actually, several breaches, and I'm not going to read the letter. The letter's right here for the board to get caught up on. But I have some concerns, you know. I mean, we get this. I meet with the representative, and then they serve us with basically it's a threat letter, you know, for breach of contract right away. And my concern is that we want to let these people in our township, you know, and work in our township, bring their business to our township, and then you would think that they would want to foster a good relationship. And no, they slap us with a lawsuit letter right away. So I appreciate the board's silence on this because I asked everybody on the board to be quiet. I did that because we had to once again do some discovery in exactly how to handle this this letter. The letter refers to the fact that the board had rescinded the resolution to bring water out to the site for out to the Goshen site. We also, the other section of the resolution to support bringing Goshen to the township. So what we ended up doing is we brought another firm on board, and I asked the board to do that. And the reason for bringing the other firm on was to help the matters of Goshen, because Mike Manthal was very busy with helping us work with other issues, dealing with ISI, and just everyday running of the township. And they were just swamped, as you can imagine. So as we're working through these things, once again, you can't say a whole lot, okay? Because you're still in discovery yourself, trying to figure out what's going on here. You know, as far as, one, brand new, I've never been a supervisor before. She's never been a clerk. She's never been a trustee. So we can't get into the stuff, or whatever. Yeah, something like that. So what we had to do is work through that, learn those things, working with our attorneys. So yeah, there's a couple of comments made out there that, oh, it's the attorneys again. It had to be. We had to make sure that we were doing things appropriately. And once again, the gag was to gag the board down until we could go through our discovery and understand what we're dealing with fully. So what I asked the board to do once again is bring on to the board, the board council, Spady Schultz. And Spady Schultz gave us this letter, as we are all aware of, as a response letter. And what we found out is, I mentioned the franchise agreement beforehand, that was signed somewhere in circa 2007, somewhere under there. And it stated that, we signed an agreement with Big Rapids, the city of Big Rapids Township, and Green Township. Okay? That means that it was the water expansion, sewer expansion up to that site in that industrial area. And from what I could tell when I went back and I read all the documentation in that time, was to maybe step away from the industrial area and use it for build-up of housing. Okay? And so we had signed that agreement, so we are bound by that agreement that happened years ago. All right? So we're not in any breach of contract, and what we can see there. We responded to them appropriately in the letter. And then the fact that we don't want to bring, or we're not sure we want to support bringing Goshen here, doesn't mean that we necessarily don't want them here, but this is a new board, and we had discussion on that. Okay, so we said, this is a new board, we need to look at these contracts and all this stuff here, and then understand it better. So recension of the expansion of water, the recension of that other bringing Goshen, was to step back and take a good look at what was going on here, because we're flooded. We didn't even have phones, we didn't even have our emails, the emails didn't work very well. That's a whole other story. You know, we couldn't get into our stuff here as far as all of our software. You know. So we had a lot of change to do on that side. So we sent them a letter. And in the letter, we had some concerned citizens that gave us some questions. And we included the questions. We included 6 questions in the back. You know. And we sent this to their attorneys. Their attorneys, we want to talk to the attorneys and not engage in any kind of conversation at this point, in any kind of position with the representative of Goshen. We're just trying to communicate through the attorneys. And I'll just read the questions off to you. One was, what is the daily need for water usage for the proposed project? Well, we had to know that because we sure as heck don't know what to do with their sewage system, right? We don't know what we're going to need, what's going to be requirements for the water up there. Water in should equal water out, but we're trying to figure out exactly. Okay, they're going to do their own treatment, so how much water is going to come out of the plant? That we, how do we set up to accept that water so we can read it appropriately and fill appropriately? And then number 2 is, could Goshen identify the proposed materials? Chemical, there's a couple people out here who will recognize some of these questions. So it's very important to get this to Goshen. Materials, chemical compounds necessary for the manufacturing process in the proposed project, and provide the public with any material safety data sheets for any such materials and or chemical compounds. That was the second one. Can Goshen identify, number 3, and provide any public site plans for the proposed project? We kind of have that now. We have half of a site plan at this point in time. To the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, EGLE. Further, could it provide information to the public of any permit applications that is submitted to EGLE or will submit to EGLE? Number 4, what are Goshen's plans to address wetlands and streams on the property proposed for the proposed project, and could it provide the public with any documents showing how the wetland streams will be addressed? Number 5, will the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CPS, review occur for the Goshen project? Has the Goshen filed anything for a CPS review? If so, Goshen's filings, could that be presented to the public? Now, that's a roll call because Goshen constantly tells us that they submitted a CPS review, a self-CPS review, which is a short form. There are 2 different forms. There's a long form and a short form. They submitted the short form. We now, Big Rapids Township requested the long form, and they still haven't provided the information to complete that. So we figured that's a low ball, so he could have just replied to us with, yeah, we don't see this. And number 6, who does Goshen anticipate to be its potential proposed suppliers for the proposed project? You know, so what we did is we submitted those 6 questions to Goshen to foster conversation with Goshen themselves, right? And so we figured that these would be good icebreaker questions, and we received no response. Because of this, board, I have concerns. I have concerns that, one, an entity that wants to do business in our area wants to slap a lawsuit on us right away when they want to do business with us. I don't understand that, especially when there's a new board here. And you think, and in my negotiations with other CEOs and those types of people, in my other capacity as working in industrial, is always trying to establish good relationships right out from the word go. Okay, this didn't happen here. I talked for maybe about 2 hours with the representative, and they slapped us with a lawsuit. So I don't understand how doing some of these things that Goshen wants to do, but yet they're going to sue the P Township that they want to work in the Brecken Township, not sue them, just threaten. The other thing that pertains to these two letters, and it's the board will read on, look at them, and I do have other letters I want to share with the board. I also kept the letters from the public because I really wanted to see exactly how interested certain people in the community were interested in the Goshen project, were interested in just giving the board a hard time. So and how I did that is I kept it quiet because I really wanted to see exactly who had FOIA these letters. You know, they're public information. Once they came out, we mentioned them. I sat on them. I never had anybody FOIA. They did FOIA. They want to see records. They want to see video of the board, audio of the board, but they don't want to actually look at the issue that they're really concerned about, right? So that tells me a lot about what's going on out in the field, out on social media and in the area. And I really have to stick with our constituents that voted us in and continue to support us to this day. So getting back to Goshen, you know, my problem here is that a lot of these letters, they actually, you know, the letter has to do with the development agreement, all right? And as we go through the letter and go through all the discovery on these letters, what I look at is maybe Goshen doesn't respond because it's like, okay, let's just say silence is very loud at times. Maybe they see a problem with the development agreement itself. Maybe they see there's a problem they don't want to respond to because it's a hot button. Because Goshen didn't even have to send this to the board. They didn't even have to send this to the board. They could just work with the county commission, and they could have just continued to usher in their project. But they chose to pick a fight with us. And I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you do that? But they did. And we answered, but they didn't respond. So I'm just wondering, you know, is there something wrong with the development agreement? Because at first, the thing about it is I see the development agreement not being completed at this time. Okay? And why do I say that? Because when you look at the video and the audio, I have a problem with the board not bringing action to the final part of the development agreement. What I mean by that is our predecessors went through and specifically gave my predecessor the ability to do a couple of things with the development agreement. Take it over to Goshen, rewrite a bunch of stuff, and then sign it. And in my mind, it should have came back to the board for a second look at it. And there's a lot of, but I'm just saying that those are my concerns with one, the development agreement. Another concern I have with Goshen is the fact that they wanted to slap it with a lawsuit right away. And I'm supposed to help usher these people in. What's going to happen later on as we put them into our area? You know, is it going to be like that from here on out? You know, so I mean, these are some concerns that I have, but yet they don't want to continue to talk to us. They continue not to want to talk to us. So I have to work this board and this township in the fashion that, one, maybe they're not going to come in. I'm not sure. All right, I don't have money from the SSRP grant. Therefore, we have to move on some of these capital projects in a way where they're not going to be supported by Goshen plant coming in. I just got to look at it that way, and that's how the board's got to look at it. All right? So if we're going to get some of these capital projects done, we can't look at Goshen being here right away. It doesn't matter if they're cutting trees. It doesn't matter if they're buying or trying to remodel places downtown. You know, we haven't done that next year. So, and I don't even know. Let's say Goshen comes in, or we start to work together a little bit. I don't even know how long it's going to take. See, so now you got to look at when's the release of the money. You know, in these grants. Are we going to be nixed out of those grants? Because from what I've heard, I haven't been invited to these meetings, but I've heard that they're looking at different ways to expand sewer one, which then cuts us out. So we still have to replace the lift station by ourselves anyways. You know, and so it all depends, and there's a lot of I just have a lot of reservations and concerns on that project. And that's one of the other reasons where we really have to take control, so the public has, and I would like to get public comment and public input on the project coming in, so we have real time public comment in every place. So that's where I'm at. Boy, did you guys let me talk? Yes.
The audio and the video that you mentioned in this last missive, was that pertaining to the eavesdropping that was done in your private house?
Absolutely.
And then it was disseminated on social media?
Yeah. Exactly. Yep, and it pertained to the clerk and myself. Now, I don't know how that, if you're a pro-motion or a no-motion person, I wouldn't even know where to begin to explain how that would help any movement at all, other than trying to destroy somebody's credibility. A person having to step down from his job for a while, just to create division. So that's where I'm at. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, I've been very coy about a lot of things, guys, because we've been in discovery, and it's been very, very difficult for the board. And I guess I would just like to thank the board for humoring me, for keeping this. They're kind of, you know, yes.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you said that these letters were FOIA-able.
Absolutely. All I
So at what point would we do, because I'm assuming a lot of the people out here feel like that was part of our closed session. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of these letters were part of our closed session, and if those are not FOIA-able.
never a request for it. We had a request for closed session meeting minutes, which we can't give up.
Yeah.
All right, we cannot, that's just not employable information.
I guess I just-
That just has to be kept on record for a year to be disclosed.
They told us in those meetings that we couldn't even go home and discuss this with our spouse, not talk to anybody. It's been very difficult.
It's been very
difficult. Know what's going on.
Yeah, not to let people know what's happening here, why we're doing the things we have to do it. And the more, you know, unfortunately, the more special meetings that we didn't want to call them special meetings, they're hard on the whole board themselves, and have to move schedules around and you know, trying to, what happens is then we come to a certain point where we absolutely have to call a special meeting, and, you know, there you are. And so I said, no more special meetings, please, of course, you kill me, and I know. And Sarah, but anyway, so, boy, I'm still talking.
Sure. I'm going to jump in here for a moment, Jason, and say it's been additionally hard to sit here and have people essentially say and use the words of lack of transparency, that we're not being transparent, and even making a comparison of our likeness to the previous board. And what you just said, and we've been biting our tongue, okay, and to the point of bleeding as well in our blood, that we're not, and it's been perceived as not being transparent. So I appreciate your explanation, and you know, and there's times I would meet individually with people and explain to me or define what you define as being transparent. So we are trying to run this by the rules of the Michigan Township Association, rules and regulations and laws, and do what's best for this township.
Yeah.
And I know I'm speaking for everyone here, we come to you here, we like this board, we trust this board. I don't want you to feel like you think that we're not satisfied. I think that is far from the truth. So.
These two right here are harder than anyone. I have more nearly as hard as these two, to be honest with you. But when we see, and I've never bashed anyone, I've never badmouthed anyone in the previous board, and I've tried to be very cordial. But when I get people sending me screenshots, things being said online, accusations, the people going is desperate, is questioning the relationship between me and my deputy treasurer. That is disgusting. You know, and for everyone, the deputy treasurer, I've known her since she was a kid. She's a wonderful person, part And, that's it.
So anyway, I'm gonna put a report together for the board, like I said earlier. We need some more, and, if any of the board members want to add to the report, I'd like to get that information on, so make sure it's watched. And maybe what we'll do is, I'll present it, you know, post it up on this, this first quarter report, because I think that needs to happen also. I'm very happy with the board that are working together, so, I can't post the letters, they got FOIA.
Oh.
So we can't post them, but they can come together.
So they can come get,
Yeah, absolutely.
they don't necessarily have a photo, they can come get them up. Or you don't want to.
So this is the problem with FOIA, this is a good point, let's just cover that.
Because before you said like you didn't want to photo, they don't.
I mean, it's in good taste, so like if you have, you know, Jill or Corey, or Rob will be in the middle of something, and lately, there's been a few requests, and we appreciate all the requests. We don't mind filling the requests. The problem is, that they're right in the middle of a bunch of stuff. Then they said, we need to spy tomorrow. What was the book budget? The budget.
We have a year's records expenditures. We can do that. We're more than happy to provide that. I believe this. But the problem is, we have less than 24 hours to provide it.
There's no way.
We've got things going on this week. More than happy to provide it, just give us time.
And some of these FOIA requests are going to have that, they've got to come in charge. We got to be able to you got to give the officers time to get that in, and that's the false and the FOIA request. If we can give you the document right away, that's one thing. Yeah, I'll print that off. But if it's something that we have to really work to get, you got to make sure it's.
I just want to say one quick thing. I talked to an individual that is in charge of 300 people. He's a top dog in an organization in this county. And he said, Bushwick, they're not making it up there. You're not transparent enough. How come you can't talk about some of this stuff? I said, well, we've had people in our township videoing and taking audio conversations in our private offices. How would you feel about that if that was taking place in your office? He says, I be livid.
So that shuts you up really quick. So that's correspondence. And then for our next hour.
Hour or two?
Some of these letters go by, we got a resume. I don't think that needs to be, that is somebody's resume.
Yeah. In the quotes also, any of the quotes we can't.
We got a proposal for a bid, that is what it is. And we might have another, we don't need to release it. Right, we might get published.
First of all, I want to express support for you guys. I think you've done a heck of a job based on what you've been put to. I've also, when I was getting ready to come here, saw the FBI Director Ray being questioned and saying, you know, well, the conspiracy theories and stuff, no, this stuff isn't conspiracy theories. There's some serious stuff going on in this country right now. Also would like to ask that we get a written FOIA, because it sounds like, you know, we need to let these people know we have to have delineated parameters. When someone says, I want this in 24 hours, that doesn't seem to be a very reasonable request and such. You know, people need to be reasonable, and we also got to make sure that, you know, we got a lot of people who like to sit there and make a lot of talk about this township who don't live in it, okay? They're, oh yeah, this, that, whatever, okay? Let's have a two-tiered, for people in the township, one thing, but if people from outside just want to sit there and create a lot of trouble, well, it's going to cost you some dollars.
Well, there's a process involved with the FOIA process, and we are not obliged to answer on FOIA processing or processing FOIA requests if you don't have your address. We need your address and your names. I've asked one person in particular that keeps on emailing me, well, what about this information? Well, I have to have your email or your address, your physical address. That's just the law. So, so anyway, moving on. If you have any other, good? Let's do consent agenda, please. Approve meeting minutes for item A.
I motion to approve the closed session meeting minutes and also the normally minutes. Sure.
So you got a motion, you have a second?
A second.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Second, Jeff, second. Motion. Can you vote?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Motion carries, approve the meeting minutes. Okay. February treasurer's report.
Again, I said what I said last time, before. If you'd like details, more than happy to provide details. Right now, our current balance in the township is $1,112,554 and 41 cents. So we're fine. We just paid out taxes this person, so that's dropped. Yeah, that's it.
Do we have that much after we paid the county our taxes?
Yeah. 1,112,553 and 41 cents.
I just need the one.
You're getting a whole.
All right. So now let's do a sewer report. Last report for Troy for the month of February 2024 is 2/1/31, 29 days. Flow was 868,173. Daily average flow was 29,937. Kilowatts was 455. And kilowatts used to date is 966. You did install. You got a new switch, and so new door switch is installed. And we had to wait for it for a while. Okay, that would include the sewer report, legislative report by Reverend Vedder was reformed at the start of the meeting. Let's go into old business. Who wants to take old business? Okay, old business, road commissioner Brian Screwball. Boy, we had to push off, I didn't include the budget and this meeting because we had a lot of stuff to take care of. The weight trim and the Williams Works. And so we're making sure that as we work through that budget, we're making sure, dotting our i's, crossing our Ts. And we will have to have, once again, we have to have a meeting before the end of the month to approve those, of that budget. So we're going to have to reschedule that, and I'll report to the board at a time here so we can coordinate and get a meeting time together. So, but I was waiting for quotes to come in, and one more.
You know, spring break is coming up pretty soon too.
It's a great time to spend your spring break.
With us.
The weather's good. So,
But on the third Wednesday through Friday, I'll be gone.
so bride approval, I just would like to stay with the recommended two brides with the County Road Commission. We're still able to submit that with the County Road Commission, and if we want to make a motion to do the two brides, we don't have to pay for it in front of us right now. If you want to, we can approve it now, or you can wait till a special meeting to approve the two brides, so everybody can see the numbers.
I'd like to hear the cost.
Yeah, I would too, yeah. So I would motion that, we just kind of table that, just to give you guys a for that. So we'll get the costs out, and run the business always.
Now, there's nobody else that can do it. The county takes care of their roads, the county roads. We don't have a choice. I'm sure it's going to be whatever the other township pays. They're not going to tell us. I think to vote on it, we have to vote to spend money. We don't have the numbers.
So it's, yeah, so and that would be the budget update. So we're going to get a budget update together, get that out for everybody so they can review it online. And we'll have it posted for enough time for questions and people want to pick up the budget here and inform and sort of thing. So that's to come. New business. Yes, new business, spring cleanup day. And we have the MTA conference is coming up. Who's interested in going to the MTA conference? I'll take care of that.
You know what it is?
Yeah. Let's see here.
What day is your spring cleanup?
Oh, we're going to come right back to that.
Okay.
Yep. Next spring.
Those days are
Got them, Kelly?
April 22nd, April 23rd, April 24th, April 25th.
You're not having the surgery, are you? With Rob?
Monday through Thursday.
No. You're going to be out of town. Well, that's right.
Yeah, I can't get close to it. Yeah, close to it.
It's the 20, you said 25th.
22nd through the 25th, culmination is the 25th. I've been to several of those, and they're just excellent. I can't say enough about them. They learn a lot. You don't have to attend every session if you can't go. You don't have to attend every day. So,
Where did you say that?
it's up to I mean, it's all good, every single day. And what we've done in the past, the guys have shared rooms and the girls have shared rooms. Some people don't like that idea. I have no problem with that at all.
Yeah.
Save the township some money.
So Kelly, you're in to go to that conference, and
I don't have anything on my schedule. I blocked it out. It's that important.
Kelly, how about you? Yeah, for you?
I would, I'm on the boat. And I'll consider, I have to look ahead if I can do that in the clinic.
And then,
Rob,
Rob,
days.
Can we see what the days, like what they have on those certain days?
Yeah, there's a brochure that has every event.
Okay.
Or you can get online with MBA.
so Rob's out, and then Corey, you going?
I'm there with you.
At least a We think of any later, so. All right, now, I'll go, I'm gonna go. And then, how did you say?
I don't have a point on that last day. but I don't know.
Okay, that gives us a little information to go on, so we can kind of drill down on that meeting, and then get it all set up for next meeting, especially if we take care of that, improve it. Okay, spring cleanup day. Spring cleanup day. Let's get back on that, please. All right. Do we have a date? Does anybody have a date in mind?
When they usually do it.
Yeah, I'm closer to him, I'll smack him.
It's usually done, other than last year, it's always done the second Saturday, the Saturday before Wednesday.
Before,
May 12th is Mother's Day, so thank you.
But last year they did it on the third Saturday, but generally it's done the second Saturday.
I think we should put the dumpsters up for bid and any services that will be provided, that people contact me, they want to be part of that.
so we need to get it out there, and
I think
sure we
so.
can start accepting the closed bids. We'll open them up. May. Yeah, I'm sure we can put these in mind. So the 11th of May, we'll lock that down, and then we'll put it out there for closed bids.
Sealed bid.
Sealed bids, and then, okay, so that is that business. Lawn mowing bids. It's gonna start, grass is gonna start growing, it's gonna start cleaning up, and a lot of things are starting to do that. We did have one bid dropped off. So, we do have some bids going right now.
Unsolicited, just people talking, but they're good.
That's great. Unsolicited. We heard anything more on any kind of bids?
No, I know there's 16 lawn service companies in the area. You know, they should just tell us what their services will be and what the cost of the township will be and how they want to be paid. And we can choose, but I know Sam's is taking great care of it, and they're a lot cheaper than Republic that did it before that. But, you know, everybody else should have a chance there too.
Okay. So we need to get that
Can I
posted.
express my ignorance and put my own equipment out, maybe there's some others. Can you highlight what exactly this cleans up? Like, what are some of the major things that occur in those things?
They bring the stuff to the
People bring
dumpster.
stuff to you.
So if they want to get rid of like
okay. Oh, that.
TVs, paint,
Yeah, I'm like, my mind was going like, out in parks and things like that.
You are required to
I know what's going on.
fire trucks.
You can't bring
Never mind, I know what's going on.
I have a question,
Under spring cleanup, you have a list of things that you cannot receive for spring cleanup, and you send out a card to everybody who lives in the township. They present the card to you, so that you know that they live in the township, and somebody from some other township or county is not coming to your cleanup.
Typically, the clerk verifies the address and takes care of it.
It's not residents, it's property owners, because we have a lot of people that have their summer homes, they can also bring, because they're residents or they're property owners, they pay taxes.
We'll be the only ones getting a postcard because
No, everybody got it. They got a list like, okay, this month they got it in stock, and then they sent it out postcard and everybody got one.
so you're saying that people that don't own land cannot bring trash or trash.
If they're a
cans.
resident,
Oh, they're residents.
they can bring trash.
Okay.
But generally, all property owners will do the card we sent to.
Right.
If they live in a rental or something, they should come and they would tell us their address, and we'd say, okay.
Okay.
Good input.
The other restrictions on fire, they have to be quarters, cut quarters. Can't be champagne, liquids of any kind. Look at last year's list and
Do you remember if you put it out the day before?
I
yes.
think the dumpster world will just be for, and then we have some people that donate their time, that have loaders on their, they even, they have loaders or whatever, and they just donated their time to load all their stuff, or unload it.
The loaders were used to compact the trash so that we got more in the dumpster. And the last time around, we paid 2 parties $127 each, so it wasn't free.
Okay, we'll look into that as a board. How about porta potty bids for storm action? We have to make sure we start getting porta potty bids. Right now, we're in contract with the Rapids, right? And so I don't know if we want to put that up for bid or how we want to do that. He was saying sealed bid.
Well, we need to solicit bids for more than just him. We need to advertise that, post it.
I don't know, one time, 4 seasons there by the airport got out of it, I thought it was they were, and I don't know if we still have, I know there were a few places that out of it for a while.
We're always getting into it, Dave, and it's
Yeah.
not better now.
You might find a vote in this area.
There were people that was getting out of it, because they did not want to come up and clean.
Pretty bad. I remember this week.
Well, for a while, I heard that they take the dump speed to the places where they get shot, it's kind of, I don't know, they're like,
That's definitely more expensive, but we need to tell them what we want as a service, and they need to tell us how we're gonna provide it. And we need to hold to it, we're supposed to clean it after every event, 2 or 3 times a week, if I do it, we check it.
They generally clean once a week, but if we had 2 or 3 things going on that week, we would call and say, okay, can you come up on Friday or Saturday morning early and dump? Because we have another big event like that.
we need to get close to this, unclose this,
Seal bid, those are here. It takes a little bit of time to open them up and spread them around, but it's only fairly do.
Yeah, we definitely got posted on the paper.
They've gotten very expensive, I just know that.
Well, I've got some more information for the board as far as just an update on those, as far as for the Stonehenge. And so had a quick conversation about it, but I did bring out the drawings for the restrooms. They're not very good, and from what I understand is regarding that grant and that grant was built for the township. So maybe that's input on it, but it's what it is, and it's at least we can take a look at it, see what it's all about, and then maybe if we can tweak it a little bit to make it more accessible to people and great, but from what I understand, it's pretty locked. But it would get staff down there.
Well, anything before the body is what I'm hearing from people that rent them.
No, yes, 100%. Yeah. So, okay. We need to approve the financial, moving on to financial, approve monthly checks.
I make a motion that we monthly check too.
We got one motion. Discussion.
I see there's one person who knows what it's starting on the whole
There may have been a couple of them paid together, is that possible? Trustee Bond.
I was gonna say last time they were
This is, the fall, we also have lighting at the township, with the electric, as well as the streetlights.
We have to look at that. I have a personal thing too.
That's super high. I was gonna say, the last time, you went two, I think last time, it was like
I'll call and find out what
I got a
the
question.
details and that, yeah.
Why do we continue to pay ISI for services they're not providing?
So our council sent out another letter, we asked, to make sure that they stop trying to bill us for services. We're not using it, we still continue to send us.
So the attorney accounts would have to pay that?
Yes.
Some of these bills are from last year.
some of the bills from last year. Who's UH1?
What we're talking about, as you guys are looking over, the accountant and I'm going to talk to really quick address.
They were very helpful.
Some of the accounting expenditures, not necessarily with this check detail, but previous check detail I want to comment on. That is doing with pertaining to the auditor, all right, and the accountants. And so, 1 second, wait.
Sorry.
Well, that's fine. But the audit is pretty much, it's just the financial part of the audit, the work part of the audit is done, right? So it wasn't a full, once again, it wasn't a full forensic audit, okay? It was a step below a full forensic audit, this was a random sample audit. We had just gotten through an audit, the township had just gotten through an audit before we got in. And so the books were square, but we had to run an audit on those books. We were switching from Quicken to QuickBooks and to update the BSNA software. So we had to bring in our auditor to verify that those accounts were going to be square and transferred appropriately. And so that audit, is just our audit. There's not a whole lot there that we need to audit anymore. Because the transfer, we may have to bring the auditor, the accountant just one more time. As we step up the BSNA software, just in case that we have a couple other discrepancies to take it up the next year, then we'll be all set. We'll be completely to the cloud. But as far as any audit needs to be done with the books, we're done with that. That happened, and it's over with. Now, second part of the audit is the machines. And I'm hoping Tim Amber will be able to help us out with that. That's why we brought, it's one of the reasons why we brought Tim Amber on, to help. He has the ability to go into those machines and make sure we extract the documents out of the server that pertain to the township. Like that would be archive documents, those types of things. But he has those abilities to do that, and he is more than willing to help us out with that.
Is he still volunteering?
Yeah, right now he's volunteering. We haven't discussed on the extraction of those documents, if there is a team that is going to have working on that, but we want to make sure it's done appropriately, so we don't lose it. So that's where the audit is. So we may see a little bit more accountant fees as we transfer over to the full-on cloud, but other than that, just so you're aware of it, the board's aware of it, and the public's aware of it, we need to make sure we get that in on
Corey, just one thing. Can you change my middle initial from M to H? Couldn't cash a check last week because they couldn't find me in the system. What was I doing?
Perfectly done, it cost us. Sorry.
Okay, so we have a motion, first motion from Dan, and then we need a second motion to approve the checks. Looking for a second motion. Okay, Rob seconds. Any other discussions on the checks? Okay, can I get a vote, please?
Hey,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Bushwright,
Yes.
Rasmussen. Yes. Yes. Moore,
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes. Okay, board motion carries to approve the checks. Thank you very much. That brings us to our last public comment. And if you'd like to establish one public comment, come on back.
Hi, my name is Lindsay. I've been here 54 years, Green Township. We've been put this in the minutes, so I have to say. Rob gave the financial report. May I ask you how much was spent in taxes? About approximately?
Off the top of my head,
Yeah,
I have to get up there, too bad we didn't do it.
like 20,000, 50,000, 80,000?
I had 300 written on it.
I don't know.
I had, we had two deposits, I know one deposit, just one day was unfortunate.
Year before you had another deposit of,
It's, yeah.
I can't hear you.
It's several over a period of time, so I have to go and
Okay, here's why I'm asking you this, is that when you gave a report for February 5th, you said the township was in great shape, you had $1.369 million, because you put the funds together, right? Okay, now, the report that I got today that you gave was, $1,112,553.41. Okay, the difference between the report from before and the report you gave now is about $257,000. So what you're saying is that part of that was taxes then? Okay,
And we have also the other expenditures,
right.
maintenance and
Okay.
contracts.
Well, you know, I'm a math person.
Yeah.
Okay. What you want to know about your conference that you're going to is all written out in the MTA that you all should be getting. Do you get that? Do each of you get that? It's, I think it's from each month.
It's a month ahead, it's a month ahead,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. So if you get online for that and you get, you know, if you wait then it's cheaper now than if you wait till you go to the water. Okay, not bad. When we had the vote in November, there was about 1,250 people that came out to vote. Okay, that is about 45% of the people in Green Township that can vote. So 55% did not come out to vote. When we sat here and we heard about all the stress that you're going through, I hope you take a walk on a nice warm day because it's going to get to you. But the thing is, you put all these flyers out before the vote came in November, saying what the old board was doing wrong, and now you're here, you know, don't be stressed. right, thanks.
Sit down, please.
Dealing with everything that you came out, and putting on a lot of abuse, and I just feel bad about it. And I'm really happy that you're here, because we need to change the plan that we voted for. One of the things I think is a problem that getting hit by is people are saying transparency. You explain what you're doing? I think we have to go further. I think we know that Goshen's a bad idea. We know that the townships didn't want it for all the ultimate reasons of CCP, the environment, the reason, I mean, just now they're cutting trees without them doing it wrong. There's been so many things that are wrong about this company. And I'm glad that you guys are fighting that. What people don't realize in this community is that you guys are trying, and that you're putting together the zoning board. The reason the other zoning board we didn't want is because Chapman was in charge of that, and it was going to be a dictatorship, and we knew that. The reason there's a new zoning board is so that there can be a group of people making the decision, and that is important, and we need that, and that's why we want to vote yes for this. Right now, people are circulating petitions saying that they want to meet for the referendum. And I want everyone to realize that this is happening right now, so do not sign those petitions if you want the planning board to continue in what Goshen for. Because this is important, and people need to know this, because they're going to be coming around. So if you want, but I want also to let people know that even if they do get the referendum, that doesn't mean that it's going to go anywhere. That actually is a good thing, because then Goshen can't move forward until the vote in August. So either way, we're going to do okay, because people are freaking out, going, well, why are they doing that? And I think that stuff has to be explained to people. I'm not trying to take you guys to shot away or say you didn't do it, but people need to understand why this is happening and what they're doing and how, if the petitioner is going to vote for it now. In my opinion, if you want the planning board to do that, you don't want to vote it again. So people have to realize that, say no to that, and not sign the petition. And the other thing too is, you guys brought this to us at the commission meeting the other night, and you did bring it there and say that you want to bring it back to our township to make decisions to get it away from Acosta County. So that people know that you guys are doing this stuff. I don't think you even brought that up to anybody. So people don't realize that you guys are proactively trying to get the control back to our community. And we appreciate that. And I know everybody here would appreciate the fact that we live here. We want to be able to control what happens in our community, not the rapids or all these people that are the promos that don't even live in our community that are trying to make a decision. No problem, but thank you.
Any more public comment for the board?
Something else that Goshen is doing right now, that can be, so I wanted to be aware, especially,
You got to address the board.
especially the ones out in the rural, just trying to find them. But I was approached to have my friends out. I was thinking about selling, however, I'm not sure, I don't know, and offered me over the money for my time. And that was a question mark in my mind, like, okay. So I checked a little bit further, and what they were going to do was buy my property and then sell it to Goshen. So that's how they're getting a different way of how to get the property. So just having to be aware, you people when they're selling. Because I would go, oh. I would go, okay, all right.
Any other public comment at this point? Okay. With that, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Two first. Kelly, two first. Thank you.